So our second theory of motivation is Maslow's need hierarchy, or hierarchy of needs. And is one of the most recognized theories when we're classifying human needs. So we look at it as a hierarchy going from physiological to safety, love, esteem, and self-actualization. And this theory says that we usually satisfy needs that are at the bottom before we move to the ones at the top. There are, of course, sometimes exceptions to that, but in general, there is support for the theory that we have to satisfy the one at the bottom before we move to the top. Okay. And one important lesson is that needs here motivate people to do their jobs. So it's logical to assume that jobs will fulfill both the physiological and safety needs. So you need to fulfill your basic needs for survival, like with food and water, by purchasing them with your salary. You also need shelter, your apartment, your home, and that would be safety to keep you safe from anyone else, but from harm, I mean. But we also look at, jobs fulfilling other things like love, esteem, and self-actualization. The fact that you want to show up to a job where you like the people and people like you, they show you support, that is part of the, fulfilling the level of love. There's also need for reputation, prestige, and recognition from others. So we'll use this example here, as well as later on, Ritz-Carlton gives a five-star hotel, gives its employees $1,000 per year to spend on satisfying their customers' needs. Okay? And then these employees are recognized. So this fulfills their needs for esteem, or even, for self-actualization. They want to be maybe the best service providers. We find that the US Army, for example, for a while used ads that used to appeal to the sense of self-actualization. Be all you can be. Okay? So this is a theory that looks at, okay, we have to really pay attention to what are the types of needs that are being fulfilled by your job. And you want to fulfill a variety of different needs for your employees, because not everyone is the same. Some people want safety, some people want love, esteem, or self-actualization. By making sure that the job is well-rounded and fulfills not only one need is very important. So as we said, to motivate employees, we have to remember that employees go beyond the paycheck. The paycheck was just maybe the first two levels of needs, which are the safety and physiological. We have to also realize that the fulfillment of their self through self-esteem and self-actualization. Self-esteem means recognition from others that they're doing their job well. So, and a boss will tell their employee that they're doing a great job. Goes a huge way, goes a long way, I mean. Self-actualization, feeling that, maybe you don't even need recognition from others. Maybe you want recognition from yourself. You want to feel the best that you can be. And that's recognized through the Army training. Okay? So we have to be careful that we're estimating our employees' needs and what they really want. Okay? Then we'll go to another theory, which is McClelland's acquired needs theory, and it looks at that there are three types of acquired needs. We basically can get them over time. There are achievement needs, so desire to overcome obstacles, solve problems, beat others, and it's very similar to esteem needs and self-actualization needs in the previous theory that we talked about, which is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There is also a need for affiliation. A need for affiliation is similar to social needs or love in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it's the desire to maintain collegiality, social relationships, and join other teams and groups. And there's also the need for power. Power doesn't necessarily mean something negative, but it is the desire to influence people in a positive way, not coerce them or force them, coach them, teaching them, or encourage others to achieve and reach their full potential. Okay. So just going back to here. So for example, if you are in healthcare and you need to provide the best healthcare to your patients as a nurse, as a doctor, you also want to be the best at it, right? So you're looking for, does your hospital provide you with the resources that you need to attend conferences or educational courses to improve your course, your skills? And that really fulfills your achievement goal. So a hospital or a healthcare organization has to make sure that it is fulfilling the need for achievement that some of the employees have. Some other employees have a need for affiliation. So for example, when I came to USD, everyone welcomed me with open arms. They attended my research presentations. They invited me to their homes. And that is an example of a need for affiliation. That they provide an environment in which the need for affiliation is fulfilled. Finally, there's also a need for power. You know, I like to have power as well. You know, I have to motivate, make sure that my needs for power have been fulfilled. So I used to serve as a mentor for new faculty members at my previous institution. I loved it because I got to help them and coach new faculty in their jobs. I had no formal power as a mentor, but I was in a position to influence them, be there for them in case they needed any sort of help. And there's also in your book a very interesting vignette on how that is applied if you want to refer to that. The next type of theory is called self-determination theory. And it looks at that there are three innate needs that influence our behavior and well-being. And these are the needs for competence, autonomy, and relatedness. Competence means that we need to feel good at what we do. Autonomy, we need to feel that I can control the world around me. This is very similar to the internal locus of control that we talked about in the previous chapter. I want to feel that I'm in control of my job, that I can control different aspects of it. Competence is I'm good at it, but autonomy, that I have some control over what I'm doing. Relatedness means that, you know, I want that sense of connection with others, which is similar to the previous two theories as well, which is relatedness. So you want to have a work environment that does what? That gives an opportunity to fulfill all of these needs. Employees are different, as we said before, and providing these different opportunities is important. So for example, McDonald's provides opportunities for its employees to fulfill their competence needs. Okay, so they give them time on training, and they give them continuing education funds. So the website talks about tuition assistance for employees who go to college. There's also that need for autonomy. Remember when we talked about Ritz-Carlton giving $1,000 to its employees to improve customer service? That's a feeling of autonomy. You know, I can spend that money however I please, right? And finally, there's that sense of relatedness. I want to feel that I'm part of something bigger. For example, at USD here, we wear the colors of the university on Friday. That fosters that sense of relatedness that we all belong to a same organization. Southwest Airlines also organizes an Employee Appreciation Day, which is indicative of the company's efforts to fulfill its employees' needs for relatedness. So let's test our knowledge here. Self-determination theory focuses on what? Three innate needs: competence, autonomy, relatedness; extrinsic motivation, lower order needs; needs for power and affiliation; basic needs. Okay. So if you said three innate needs: competence, autonomy, and relatedness, then that is the correct answer. Right. The final type of theory that we're going to talk about in terms of content theories, and we look at motivation as coming from within the employee, is that Hertzberg looked at job satisfaction and dissatisfaction, being happy with your job and unhappy, arise from two different factors. Okay. So with hygiene factors, they cause a person to move from a state of no dissatisfaction to dissatisfaction. So these are factors that cause you to be upset with your job, right? But then there are what we call motivating factors. And these are factors that cause you to be happy with your job. So they move you from no satisfaction to satisfaction. So, of course, as an organization, you want to start with the hygiene factors first. You want to ensure that there's no dissatisfaction before moving on to that motivating aspect, which is moving them higher up the ladder of satisfaction. Okay? So, factors that influence or are called hygiene factors are things like the company policy, these salary, relationship with your supervisors. These things are given. If these things don't exist, if you don't have a good relationship with your supervisor, you don't have good salary, the company policy is really very bad in a lot of different aspects, you will be very dissatisfied. These don't really motivate you and make you happier. These are things that are minimum that have to exist. But then there are what we call motivating factors, and these are kind of like, does your job, things that are associated with the content and task of what you're performing, is it fulfilling? You know? So I teach. Okay, do I have a lot of liberty in deciding what I teach? How I teach? Is it more hands-on? These are more motivating factors. The characteristics of your work, the responsibility, is there any opportunity for advancement, or is this just it? And these are motivating factors. So you have to really distinguish between what hygiene factors are and then motivating factors.